Welcome to the channel, guys. So in this video we're going to talk about the McLaren 600 and what I personally think are the must-have options on a McLaren 600 and maybe even any McLaren. We have a beautiful sunny day today. You will have to excuse me, I do have the dreaded lurgy. But the first option that I think is a must-have, and I think this is a must-have on any McLaren, I will demonstrate, and that is that you should buy your McLaren as a convertible. And my belief for this is that the premium to buy a used McLaren Spider is normally not that much over the coupe. But of course, all McLarens have carbon tubs. So when you spec a convertible, there's no downsides. You don't get any scuttle shake in the cabin. There's no flex to the structure. It's as good handling-wise and structure-wise as the coupe version. But of course, being a Spider, you get all the benefits of being a Spider. You can drive it with the roof down, you can drive it with the roof up, or you can drive it with the roof up and the back window down. So for me, that's the first must-have option on any McLaren. Buy a Spider. It's absolute must-have option. Now for me, when I was originally looking for a 600 LT, there was one option that was an absolute must, and that was the louvered wings. That for me just had to have the louvered wings, and my reasoning behind that is if you're buying a Porsche GT3 RS, it comes with louvered wings, and it's not an option on a Porsche, it's obviously how it comes. But if you could have been an option on a Porsche, you wouldn't have asked Porsche to delete your louvered wings. So for me, a 600 LT absolutely must have the louvered wings. It was a £10,000 option from the factory, so it's pretty expensive. It's also why you don't see a lot of 600 LTs with that option, simply due to the expense involved. They are also functional. They aid in the downforce to the front end. Here you can see, if I get in close, they are carbon fibre, but they are also vented, so air does actually come through them. I think the second most important option, well, it certainly was for myself, the colour. I wanted a bright colour. I had to have a bright colour. Originally, I was looking at oranges and yellows and maybe green. I'm a bag of Skittles guy. I love bright colours. And the gentleman got in touch with me and said, I've got a 600 LT. It's not for sale, but I have contemplated selling it. But you may not consider it a bright colour. So I said, okay. He sent me some pictures. I was like, okay, that looks nice. I went to look at it. The garage doors went up, and I instantly said to my mate that was with me, it's like, oh dear, this is going to be an expensive day. And of course, I purchased the car. So yeah, colour is very important. This colour is Volcano Red. It's very rare on the 600 LT. There's only 2 to 3 cars in the UK in Volcano Red. You can see there, the sun's hitting it. It is literally on fire. So absolutely amazing colour. I also love Volcano Yellow as well. Also another epic colour. But McLaren, I will give them kudos where kudos is due. They have some amazing, beautiful colours. They really do. So for me, what would be the another really important option where we can stay stood here? Wheels. I'm not a fan of black wheels. I think the design gets lost. So I absolutely wanted one that had ideally silver wheels. I didn't know about these wheels until I saw them. These are the ultra light 5-spoke diamond cut wheels. And for me, they are the absolute best wheels for the 600 LT. For me, they just make it look like it's worth another £100,000 more expensive. They are truly beautiful wheels. So yeah, there are lots of wheel options. There's the ultralight multi-spoke wheels, which are very nice, but they again, excuse me, are predominantly black. You can get them in silver, and I personally think they do look way better in silver. But these 5-spoke ultralight wheels are my favourite, and to get them in diamond cut, obviously very, very happy with that result. All the cars come with ceramic brakes. The other major option on the exterior of a 600 LT is carbon packs. So everywhere where you see black on my car could also be in carbon fibre. So you've got the front bit there, you've got the black bits in the doors and the black bits running down the lower. You've got the deck here, is also black. The spoiler and the rear of the car. Now, all 600 LTs are carbon fibre. So every painted black item on this car is actually carbon fibre anyway. What you're paying for on the options is the visual appearance of your carbon fibre. So factory standard is palladium, which is like a greyish kind of colour. Don't really like it at all. Don't think it really works on the 600 LT, if I'm totally honest. Then you could spec carbon fibre pack 1, pack 2 and pack 3. I believe that carbon fibre pack 1, which was just these scoops here, and other element was carbon fibre, was about £6,500 to have those in visual carbon fibre. Carbon pack 2 is the big one. That's where you get your front splitter, I believe the lower part of the doors and the bit at the centre of the doors, and of course the rear diffuser bumper would all be in visual carbon fibre. Very expensive, that option. Do correct me if I'm wrong, but it's around £15,000. Very desirable option as well. But but ideally carbon packs 1 and 2 should be combined. I've seen cars with just carbon pack 1, and all it says is that you couldn't afford the extra carbon fibre, and it kind of looks pretty bad in my opinion. So carbon packs 1 and 2 are a must if you want visual carbon fibre. Then there was a carbon pack 3, which would give you this rear deck in carbon fibre, and maybe on a coupe also the roof, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Again, please do comment in the comments if you have a car with carbon pack 3, exactly what that includes. It would also include this here in carbon pack 3, and again I think that was another expensive option in the region of £10,000 to £15,000. But carbon pack 3 isn't a must if you've got the other carbon packs. It kind of like doesn't go so noticed, but if you only have carbon pack 1, in my opinion, that really stands out, that it just looks a bit wrong. You should have carbon packs 1 and 2. This car has what's called the MSO Black Pack, which was an option introduced a little bit later in the life of the 600 LT. I think I personally love it on my car because of the colour of my car, but I would also definitely not be upset if my car had carbon packs 1 and 2, and obviously 3 would be nice. But I think the MSO Black Pack with the black calipers works very well on this spec of car within the Volcano Red. It's tying in that perfect two-tone colour combination. And that's carbon pack 1. I can see I've missed a bit on the bumper there when I cleaned it, so I'll come around here. We might get a bit of sun flare. If we do, I will obviously go back to the other side. So I would say that's the must-have exterior options on a 600 LT. Some people absolutely love the carbon fibre, and I'm also a bit of a carbon fibre fanboy as well, but I don't feel badly done by having the MSL Black Pack, because I think it works great with the Volcano Red and the black calipers. And I also think obviously black will go with some other colours very, very well. But if say it was a black car, I think that carbon fibre would be an absolute must. Otherwise, the whole car black would just be a bit too much. Something else I really like on my car on the exterior, we'll put the roof up, is the fact that my roof is painted body colour. I wasn't too fussed on this. I wouldn't say this is a must-have option, but for me, I ideally didn't want a black or a palladium roof, because I feel it's just too much black on a car, and when you've got such a beautiful colour as the Volcano Red, I simply wanted more of it. So I was really glad that my car has the painted roof option. I'm not sure if that was an extra. I think it may have actually been an extra, to actually have your roof painted in palladium or black rather than body colour. But for me, I'm really happy that this car was spec'd with the roof in body colour. It's just something that I prefer as a preference. Obviously, some people prefer the whole black roof thing. So, I think exterior-wise, that's covered the majority. It use typical carbon fibre packs for your exterior. Stuff like your LED headlights are all standard. Your ceramic brakes are standard, etc., etc. The colour Volcano Red, I believe is about an £11,000 option. I believe the wheels was around a £5,000 option. So we've discussed the carbon fibre packs. You could also get the rear wing in carbon fibre as well. Now that was a separate option totally, and I think that was about £4,000 to £5,000. But like I say, all of these areas where you're seeing black on the car actually are carbon fibre. All you're paying for is the visual appearance, because obviously the big thing about the 600LT was the weight savings, which they achieved mainly by changing the panels to carbon fibre. So let's step on the interior as to what, again, I believe are the must-have options on a 600LT. First of all, you obviously want the security pack. So it gives you, I believe, the front lifter and the alarm. Those are a must. Something that I personally love on my car are these extended carbon fibre sills, because I think they just insinuate the whole carbon fibre floor, and it really does give the impression that the whole tub is carbon fibre. Normally these would either be half, which then I think look pretty naff, because again it just says, why didn't you just get the full one? You know, either just go all carpet or go all out and all carbon fibre. So I'm not that keen on just the half bit. It just looks a bit lost and a bit silly. So full carbon fibre, for me, they're a real nice visual thing. You open the door, you get out, and it just screams, yeah, that's a carbon fibre tub. Really, really great visual bit. The other bit is the carbon fibre on the interior I think is a real must, because if you don't get the carbon fibre interior packs, the interior looks really kind of cheap and nasty. The other big advantage, we'll go around the other side of the whole carbon fibre interiors, you get much bigger shifter paddles. And having driven a car with the smaller shifter paddles, though they still have the same click, they don't feel anywhere near as nice as these extended ones, which is part of that pack. Again, I think that's about a £4,000 pack. The other option for me, which is a must, is the Bowers and Wilkins sound system. But basically easily to spot. It's like having a karaoke speaker on the middle of the dash. It's a very easy option to spot. But when you're sat in traffic jams or you're cruising on the motorway, it's nice to have a really nice sound system. Of course, the purists are going to say, well, why do you need a sound system when you've got those right behind your head? And I completely agree. They do sound totally awesome. Best sounding McLaren by far to anybody who's driving it and sat in those seats. For you, the driver, this is the best sounding McLaren easily that you can buy today. All the others to the driver sound a bit naff. They're very quiet because the exhaust obviously much lower down. Though I will admit the 750S, they definitely made the 750S sound much better in the cabin by, I believe, raising the exhaust a bit higher up at the back end and doing some tweaking to the sound. Now, one of the big talking issues with any McLaren that you buy is the seats. In the 600LT, there was actually 3 options of seat. So let me see if I can actually find a way to show you these easily. A bit hard with the way the doors go in this car. So this car has the P1 bucket seats. Now, for me personally, these are my favourite seat comfort-wise. And the most comfortable in the P1 bucket seat. I've done several hours of driving and I don't find any discomfort. They are very basic. They just slide forwards and back, and that is your only range of adjustment. They don't have any heating, and I think they look pretty cool. But of course, the other seat option was the center seat. That seat is a work of art. If you want the ultimate brownie points on the interior spec of your McLaren, if you're going to shows, I would definitely say you want those full carbon side blades and you want center seats. That is the ultimate wow factor interior on any McLaren 600LT. For me, the center seats I find uncomfortable. I can last maybe up to an hour in them before I'm getting lots of strange pains in my body, normally around the lower back. So it's why seats are really important, because what works for one person won't work for another person. I personally find the P1s very comfortable. The centers, not so much. And having also driven a 570S with the comfort seats, I find them reasonably comfortable, but I can't get the seat low enough in the cabin. I still feel like I'm sat a bit high in the car, and for longer journeys, I still find the P1 seat that bit more comfortable. It just holds me perfect. So seats are really important in any McLaren. Make sure you try all 3 of the seats, because you don't want to spec a car or buy a used car with the wrong seat and find that you're not very comfortable in the car. One of the other options with the McLaren 600 LT is tyre choice. These cars, believe it or not, actually came with 3 option tyres from the factory. So you could either have the Pirelli P0 PZ4, or you could have the Pirelli Corsa, or you could have the Pirelli Trofeo R. And they're basically going up a level in dry grip. So the P0 is the tyre that's recommended for road use. It's okay in the wet, and it performs well on the road in the dry, but not really suitable for lots of track use, because obviously the tyre is not designed to be used on track, or certainly not for extended sessions. Then you've got the Pirelli Corsa, which is more track orientated, with also some slight damp wettability, and is kind of okay to use also on the road. But of course, if it rains or there's standing water, the Corsa isn't quite as good as the P0. And then you've got the Trofeo R, which is a truly amazing tyre for the track in the dry, but it literally features practically no tread. So it's very dicey on the road in the wet, especially if you're travelling on the motorway. It can suffer aquaplaning quite badly. And of course, it doesn't work in colder temperatures pretty much at all. So again, totally depends what you want to do. All 3 tyres are fine for the road, but if you're running a Trofeo with R's, then of course, just take it easy if it's cold or wet, or unless, of course, you're Lewis Hamilton, then feel free to pull some massive skids. So that's the tyre options. There were other options on these cars. Another real option that people always miss on a 600 LT, believe it or not, the glove box and the door pockets were an option. So these are very handy, because you can, as I've got towels in there, other stuff in there, but also means that when you open the doors, stuff doesn't fall out. And then, of course, a glove box. It's not a very big glove box, but it's operated by that button, and you can get some more stuff in there. So a lot of 600 LTs, believe it or not, don't have the glove box or the door pockets, because I guess even though it was a cheap option, it got overlooked. So it's another option that's I would advise you have, because the more areas you've got in the car to stash things away just makes it a bit more livable. Especially, a lot of people that own these cars actually do drive them, and they drive them a lot. You generally find that these cars are not like Ferraris, where they just don't get used. Most McLaren owners, particularly 600 owners, are always out driving their cars, whether it's road trips, European trips, or you see them quite often on track days, because obviously being an LT, it was specifically designed to be great on track, and I can echo that this car is truly amazing on track. I've done several track days in it. It's been superb, but its track day life is now coming to an end, because I've had all the PPF redone, and so the car's looking stunning again from the front end, and I don't obviously want to get that messed up. But the car, also another option, of course, from the factory was PPF. This car did have that, thank God. So the front end is still spotless, and now we've just replaced the PPF. Another option, which is a must on a LT, me personally, is to make sure the interior has the suede package, or Alcantara as it's known. I have seen, they're very rare, the odd LT with a leather dash. It just looks so wrong in an LT car. These cars are race car. They should have the suede Alcantara dash, and as much suede everywhere else, like the steering wheel. And of course, if you have P1 seats, they should of course be suede as well, to keep you in and keep you gripped. So suede interior for me, absolute must. I personally think they look wrong. One of the very first cars I test drove of a 600 LT was a Helios orange car with all 3 carbon packs. And when I walked up to that car, I was walking up to it and thinking, oh my God, I am in love. So it was Helios orange. It had those wheels on it. It had all 3 carbon packs. It had the louvered wings. I was in love until I opened the door. Not only did I see comfort seats, but I also saw a leather dash. And I took the car out and I tried to convince myself that yes, I could live with these seats, or maybe I could get some P1s, maybe I could redo the dash, etc., etc. But then I was like, no, it's going to cost probably in the region of £20,000. So I walked away. Gutted, because it was a beautiful car exterior-wise, but saying that, I have an even rarer example here now with this Volcano Red. And as you can see in the sun, It is a truly stunning, stunning colour. We will just walk around the front. So I'm thinking, have I missed any options? If I have, and you own a 600 LT or you've spec'd one from new, please do comment and let me know what your must-have options are on your 600 LT. And if you were to do it again, if there are any options that you would change. The list price on this car was 277,000 with the options that are on it. Now that's the list price. I'm pretty sure that maybe the first owner who bought this car probably got some discount because McLaren were doing discounts when these came out. There is only 170 600 LT Spiders in the UK, and there is only 2 to 3 in Volcano Red. And I believe I have the only MSO spec car. So by the MSO fender louvers, the MSO sill blades, it's got MSO on the seats, it's got MSO on the pedals, it's got MSO on the floor mats. So when it comes to Volcano Red, I might be biased, but I've got the best Volcano Red 600 LT in the UK, potentially the world. So I'm pretty happy with that I definitely have. In my view, in my opinion, one of the very best, most beautiful looking 600 LTs there is. Every time I take this to a car show, somebody wants to buy it. I get comments on my YouTube about this car. Let me know if you're ever selling it, because the colour works for all ages. You might be a retired gentleman or lady, you would buy this colour. You might be somebody who's young in their 20s, very fortunate if you can afford one of these cars in your 20s, this is a colour you would buy. Or you might be like me, middle age, this is a colour I would buy. This colour, all age groups, it works. It's very rare, it looks truly magnificent. And I've had this car now for about 2.5 years. I love it. Everywhere we take it, people just go crazy. You know, it is just an amazing spec and people rave about it. And I'm very glad I have it. And I'm very glad that I took the gamble and went with the colour. As you can see there, the other option, that was only a USA option, but can now be retrofitted here in the UK. My car doesn't have it, but you can get what's called an MSO exhaust, which can be fitted from the factory by McLaren. I believe it's about 1,500-ish fitted. And the MSO exhaust, basically, you don't know if you can see them, but there's some butterflies in there, and they basically close when the car is at idle and low RPMs just to keep noise levels down. You can get a factory option, which basically is an exhaust without them, so the car is a bit louder all of the time. I'm quite happy with the way it is because I love the sound it makes, and whenever I'm driving it and I'm enjoying a drive, those are open anyway. But owners who have done it do say there is an improvement and they think it was money well spent. So that's something you go to any McLaren UK dealership now, say you want the MSO exhaust, and they can supply and fit that part for you, and it will not invalidate or affect your warranty on the car. So I'm just standing here admiring it. I think we've talked about everything now, option-wise, what I think personally is the must-have options on a 600 LT. We've done the exterior, done the interior, we've talked about the seats, so now I think it's just a case of take it in. Let's shut the doors and do one last walk around. And that's another option. You'll hear that, the doors have soft close. Personally, I think they all have it. It's not a must-have option. And that I don't really get it. I'm quite happy for a door to work the way a door should work, which it's a hinge, but they just pull themselves to and shut themselves. But not a must-have option for me. I say you got another must-have option, which I nearly forgot. I did mention it briefly, and they believe they all do have it, but you absolutely need the front lifter on a 600 LT. This car is very low. If I get down here and try to show you, it's a very low car. We'll do the same with the sun behind us as well, but you can get an impression of just how low the 600 LT is. So the front lifter is an absolute must. I don't know if anyone's actually got a 600 LT without a lifter, but this car has scraped even on drives out. And so obviously if you want to try to get in a multi-story car park or on a boat like I did to go drive in the Isle of Man, without the front lifter, that would be pretty impossible. Not unless you want to take your front bumper off. Anyway, so yeah, we'll do one last walk around and we'll go to the front so you can see how the ride height with the sun. Try to get my shadow out of it. We'll try to come back here, get the whole car in.
go. And that's kind of the money shot there. The paint's on fire. They are just such an incredible, beautiful looking car. For me, the 600LT is the best looking of all the McLarens as well. Because I always said if I bought a McLaren, I want the one with the exhaust that come out the top. Now I'm fortunate enough to afford one and buy one. And I now own this car as well, so it's mine, no finance on it, totally paid off. But it's just such a beautiful looking machine. And of course, it's got the performance to match those looks. And we'll do that one last walk around that I promised. And as you can see, yeah, the front end is now perfect, all fresh PPF. There's no chips, there's no marks, no PPF peeling. Looks like the day it rode out the showroom again. So yes, do comment, have I missed any must-have options? Anything you disagree, agree with? Feel free, everyone has their own taste. That what makes the world exciting, that everybody likes different things. Some of you may absolutely hate the spec of my car, though I would find that hard to believe because, like I say, when we take it to shows, people go wild for it. But I have no plans to sell it, but of course, if you're interested in buying it, I'm never the person who would say everything's for sale at the right price. But right now, there are no plans to sell this car. But if somebody came along and gave me an offer I couldn't refuse, then it could be yours tomorrow. But as it stands, we're going to enjoy another year in this. We're going to go to Italy this year in the car. Car's now under warranty until 2027. So we've got a couple more years of hopefully trouble-free motoring. And I'm going to conclude the video there. As always, thank you for watching, and please do like and subscribe to the channel.